Okay, to set up your outline for your essay, we're gonna pick a topic. So I'm just gonna put how to make a clay pendant necklace. You can pick whatever topic you want. So the topic would go here. And then I'm going to pick 3 subtopics to break my main details up into. So I put supplies, conditioning, and getting your clay ready. And then subtopic 3 is designing your pendant. So the first subtopic would go here. So subtopic 1 is the supplies that you'll need. So we're just making brief notes. So you could just put clay, and then I'm going to write some details under this. Polymer clay. I use Sculpey 3. And then I'm going to give some more details about the clay. So various colors. All right. My second thing I need is a pasta machine or a rolling pin. And now I'm going to give some sub details about this. So I'm going to now detail the pasta machine or rolling pin. So pasta machine will help make rolling easier. Use a rolling pin to flatten clay. All right, my next supply is going to be a pendant holder. And they come in silver, gold, bronze, and rose gold. And then different, you can use a Bizon, I don't know how to spell it, Bizon. You can use a clasp. Or you can make one from clay. And then now I could detail this because I have a detail that I can say for each of these. So if you use the Bijon or the clasp, you would glue the holder onto pendant. And then for this one, if you make one out of clay, you roll a small cylinder and glue on back of pendant. Okay, so the first thing I did was come up with my topic. Then I came up with subtopic 1, which are supplies. Now the supplies that I need are clay, a pasta machine or rolling pin, and a pendant holder. And then you need a chain. And you could use silver, gold, or other metal, or you could use a nylon chain. All right, so my 4 supplies that I listed, I'm going to then give details, which you see here. And I could do more, but I wanted to just make sure to keep it easy and simple. And then I would go to subtopic 2. which is conditioning and getting clay ready. So I'm going to write my subtopic down, and then I'm going to think of ways that I can further break down subtopic 2. So the first thing you're going to need to do is put clay on a surface, and then I'm going to detail that like a cutting board or a tile. And then my second detail is going to be, what else do I need to tell my reader of getting clay ready? So I'm going to pick my paints or decorations. And then my third topic is going to be plan, design. And my fourth topic is to condition the clay. All right, now I'm going to detail my details. So put clay on a surface, use a cutting board or a tile. This is helpful. Now I'm going to detail my detail of my detail. This is helpful if you will cut pendant out into a shape. Now for a tile, this is helpful to bake directly on the tile. Now I'm going to detail that. You don't have to move clay from cutting area. Now, my second detail was you pick the paints or decorations, and I'm actually going to switch it. So plan, design is going to come first. So when you're looking at this, say I look at this and I go, wait, this doesn't make sense. It's pretty easy for me to see that because I just have a few details. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to change it and say, I'm going to do this first and then this second. So decide what you want pendant to look like. Make a sketch, plan colors of design, and then pick the medium that you will use. So now I have subtopic 2, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 subtopics of my subtopic. And now I'm going through and I'm detailing those as well. Now picking paints or decoration. If you pick paints, use acrylic to ensure good coverage. Get stencils ready or silk screens. You can do a freehand design. You can do a stamp. And you can use gems. So I'm just making sure that for each of my details here that I have 3 or 4 or 5 different notes that will help me add detail to the process of picking paints or decorations. Now conditioning the clay. So I'm going to come up with my first subtopic, decide on thickness. And now I'm going to give a detail about that. So 1 on pasta machine is thickest setting. 10 is the thinnest. I use a 3 for most designs. So this is with my pasta machine. And then run clay through 5 or 6 times. Now I'm going to detail this. Each time, fold clay in half, making sure to remove bubbles. All right, so to make it simple, I'm going to stop with that. And then my last one is designing your pendant. So I'm actually going to change that. I've decided that I like the subtopic of just a general making the pendant. So number 1, gather supplies. Need it. Step 2, is to make the design, cut the design, bake, put a finish, and then string a chain. Okay, so these are my steps, and now I'm gonna lead my reader through all of these. However many subtopic details we need is what I'm gonna do, like we did with the other ones. So that is basically how to do the outline. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at the first page, like where we started, and it's going to say how to make a clay pendant necklace. So now I'm going to write my essay, and here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to use this sentence right here to make my topic sentence. Is going to go first. So TS, topic sentence. I'm going to indent in, and I'm going to write a sentence that introduces my topic to my reader. Making clay pendants, and it could be anything that introduces your topic, can be fun and produce amazing results. But you have to follow steps. And the reason why I chose to add that is because pretty much everything that I'm describing is going through the steps of making this pendant. So my subtopic 1 is supplies. My subtopic 2 is getting clay ready. And my subtopic 3 is making the pendant. So my first sentence after my topic sentence is going to be detail 1, which is my subtopic 1. So I am going to go back to my first making supplies subtopic right here, and I'm going to write a sentence that helps the reader understand what is going to come up when I'm talking about supplies. So I'm going to say something about the clay, the pasta machine, the pendant holder, and the chain, but I'm going to do it in a general term. I'm not going to go into details here because I'm just introducing my reader to it. So I'm going to say something general like, you need supplies that include clay, pasta machine, or rolling pin, a pendant holder, and a chain. You will also need paints. We're just going to make it simple. All right. My subtopic 2 is going to get introduced now. So right here, I'm going to write subtopic 2 sentence right here after subtopic 1. And I'm going to say a general sentence about getting the clay ready. So you're going to say something like, it is important to prepare your clay. It's just a general sentence. You're not going to go into details. And then subtopic 3 is making the pendant. The final step is to make and string the pendant. Now, your final sentence is going to be something that encourages the reader to read the rest of the paragraphs. So I'm going to say something like, these steps will help you make a beautiful pendant to keep for yourself or give as a gift. So this is my introduction, and it includes my topic sentence right here, introducing subtopic 1 in a general way, nothing specific. Subtopic 2 is here. Subtopic 3 is here. And then this last sentence is going to be something that kind of sums up what we are going to be doing. So that is my first introductory paragraph. And now I'm going to go into subtopic 1. So how to make a clay pendant necklace. So I'm going to introduce that again. So I'm going to say something like, supplies. I'm going to indent in the supplies you need to make a clay pendant are, and I'm just going to name what is in my list here. Clay, a pasta machine, and I know I've already done that up here, but it's okay. That's what we have to do. a pendant holder, and a chain. And now I'm going to go to my first detail of clay, and I'm going to basically write whatever I put here, I'm going to put in my paragraph. So the clay needs to be a high quality polymer clay. I use Sculpey 3, but there are other brands like Fimo. The clay comes, now I'm going to say something about various colors, comes in various colors. And then I can just leave it at that, but I actually, as I'm writing this, I go, oh yeah, and textures too. So you can always add, just because it's not on here doesn't mean that you can't add it as long as it's related to this subtopic. So it also comes in various textures, such as leather. Next thing I'm going to do is think, is there anything else under clay that I've forgotten that I would want to add? So I think this is good, but this is where I'm going to look and say, is there anything else? I think colors. You can choose pretty much any color as well as metallic colors. Okay, now I'm going to go through and I'm going to do that for each of these. So I'm going to write something about the pasta machine, and I'm going to put this in, the pendant holder, and I'm going to put that in, and I'm going to literally do every single detail here with at least a sentence for each. And suppose as I'm writing it, I say, well, I actually can explain this more. So then that's where, after you write this sentence in your paragraph, you would explain it further here, even if you didn't write notes about it. So I do that, and then just say I've already done that. Now I'm going to go to subtopic 2, getting the clay ready. So I'm going to write a sentence. I'm going to indent in because I want my reader to know that I'm starting a new sentence. So it is important. How about it is an important step to get your clay ready and plan your designs. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to write everything that I have here. Put your clay on a surface, period. You could use a cutting board, period. This will be helpful if you cut the pendant out, period. You could also use a tile, period. This is helpful to bake directly on the tile, period. Then you would pick out your paint or decorations. And so you go through and you literally have pretty much everything written. You just have to put it all in complete sentences. Then we're going to go to subtopic 3, making the pendant. And so say that we've already done all of that. We're going to go now to subtopic 3. We're going to indent in so that our reader knows that we are starting a new subtopic. And we're going to say, making the pendant is the most rewarding part or something. You just have to come up with some sentence that tells your reader what this paragraph is going to be about. And then you're going to actually do the same thing you did for the rest of the paragraphs. Now for your conclusion, you're going to start with your topic sentence. So you're going to indent in, and your topic sentence is going to be pretty much similar to what you did here, but we are going to change it up. But you're going to start with a topic sentence. So your topic sentence is going to be something like how to make a clay pendant necklace. And so you're going to say, these are all of the steps you would take to make a clay pendant necklace. Now you're going to talk about the subtopic 1 was supplies. So you're going to say that again. You don't have to name this time, but you're like finalizing it. So you could say going to a craft store to get all of your supplies will make this an easy, fun project. You don't have to say anything specific. We're just kind of finalizing. Then we're going to talk about getting your clay ready. There are many, or you could just name, there are 6 steps, whatever it is. Steps to getting your clay ready and preparing and planning your design. Now, the final subtopic is making the pendant. The final step is making the pendant and putting the final touches on your pendant. Now we have a conclusion sentence that's going to kind of sum up everything, and I'm going to say something like, once I practiced making pendants out of clay, I now feel it is so exciting to create my designs, or something, just a final goodbye sentence. So those are the steps, and I know you did, you were doing Hawaii, so I just want to really quickly just put something into writing about Hawaii. So you did, let me just get to your page. You did your trip, and one of your subtopics that you had not finished yet was going to the ocean. So what you would do is you had ocean, swim, paddleboard, snorkel, and sitting at beach. So for this, you are going to, this is like your subtopic, and these are your subdetails. So you're going to write a sentence about the ocean. We love going to the ocean when we go to Hawaii. We go every day to swim, paddleboard, snorkel, or sit on the beach. And now under swim, you're going to write details about this, maybe three details about paddleboarding, or 4 maybe. 3 or 4 details about snorkeling, and 3 or 4 details sitting on the beach. And then you would just put these into complete sentences. So whatever you put here, you would do an introductory sentence about swimming with the 3 details, introductory about paddleboarding, and your details snorkeling, and some details sitting at the beach. And then you would go to your next topic. I think you had something about a pancake house that you guys went to, and so you could do all of that. So sometimes it's hard to come up with the subtopics or the details for the subtopics. So always think of who, what, where, when, why, how. You can include your sensory details, like does it something, if you're talking about a restaurant, does it taste like anything? Is it smell like the beach smells like wonderful salt water or whatever? The sights, what are you seeing? Textures, what did it feel like? What were the colors? All of those sensory details would be good. And then you can also share what is your experience? What was it like? You could include your favorite parts. You can include research. So if you don't know about something, you can always research it. And it also can include things like examples. So this can help you come up with more details for your subtopics. Who, what, where, when, why, how, tastes, smells, sights, textures, colors. What is your experience? What were the favorite parts? Any research you could do, examples, stuff like that. Okay. I don't know what you're doing next in math. You did not send me your next chapter. I don't think you got it yet. So we are just going to quickly go over some algebra. X plus 5 or 15 is more than 35. So if we had to do this and solve it and graph it, we would just do, they're adding 15, so I subtract 15. Anything I do on one side, I do on the other. This cancels each other out. What's left on this side is x, and then we do the math on this side. 35 minus 15 is 20, and this means that x is more than 20. So when we graph it, we do a number line and we put 20 on there, and we do a circle. If it is like this, we leave it open. If it is like this or like this, we close it. So we would just fill it in. Since this is open, we keep it open. And then if it's written like X, more than or less than, and then the number, the arrow would go facing the same as the arrow here points. If the X is over here, then you actually have to reverse the arrow. So I always like to keep my X on this side anyway. So just make sure you remember. Sometimes when they're doing the problem, they might do this, in which case you would have to turn this around because X would be over here. Okay, and then when we have a fraction like k plus 3/4 is more than 1/3, we would treat it the same as any old number. We don't care that it's a fraction. We would just deal with it the same way by saying they're adding 3/4, so I subtract 3/4. Anything I do to one side, I do to the other. This cancels each other out. What's left on this side is k, and then we would do 1/3 minus 3/4, and we would find our common denominator. And then for this, biggest fraction wins the sign. This is the biggest fraction. So my answer is going to be negative. And then I'm going to subtract 9 from 4, which equals -5. And then it's over 12ths. So it's going to be k is more than -5/12. So since we are doing fractions, you're going to do your number line, and because we have a negative, we're going to include some negative numbers on our number line. So this says k is more than -5/12. So we first have to locate where 5/12 is, and it's right about here. So 6/12 would be a half, and it's negative, so it'd be a -1/2. So it's a little bit before the halfway mark. And is my answer open or closed? It is open. And then my inequality sign is facing this way. So my arrow is going to face this way. And my solution set is going to include everything from almost -1/2, so -5/12, all the way on. You had asked, we did this, so I'm assuming that you asked about it or you just had it. And it is 4 times 3t minus 5 plus 7 is more than or equal to 8t plus 3. So our first thing we're going to do is we're going to get all of our t's on one side and all of our numbers on the other. So that's our ultimate goal. But first I say, oh wait, I have to distribute this. So I'm going to do that first, knowing that I'm going to get my t's over here and my numbers over here. So the first thing I do is 4 times 3t and 4 times -5. Plus 7, and I'm going to rewrite the rest of it. So that would give me 12t minus 20 plus 7 is greater than or equal to 8t plus 3. So now I'm going to combine like terms here. I have a -20 and I have a plus 7. So biggest integer wins the sign. My answer is going to be negative. And then I do 20 minus 7 is -13. So I'm going to do 12t minus 13, and then I'm going to rewrite the rest of the problem. So now I have something where I have to get my 8t over here, and I have to get my negative 13 over here. So I decide what I'm going to do first, and it doesn't matter which you can do. You can do either one first. I'm going to do plus 13. They're subtracting 13, so I add 13. And what I do to one side, I do to the other. And then that gives me 12t on this side is more than or equal to 8t. And then 13 plus 3 is 16. Now I'm going to get my 8t over here. They're adding 8t. I am going to subtract 8t. So I subtracted 8t on both sides. That cancels it off here, and I'm left with 4t is greater than or equal to 16. And now they're multiplying 4 and t, so to get my 4 away from my t, I'm going to divide. So I divide by 4. Anything I do to one side, I do to the other. This cancels each other out. What's left on this side is t, and then is greater than or equal to 16 divided by 4 is 4. Now if I were to plug it back in, I would do 3 times 4 minus 5 plus 7 is greater than or equal to 8 times 4 plus 3. And so I'm going to work within the parentheses because PEMDAS tells me that's what I have to do first. So I'm going to do 4 times 12 minus 5 plus 7 times 4 plus 3. So we have 4 times 7 plus 7, 32 plus 3. We're just doing one step at a time. 28 plus 7 is 35, is more than or equal to 35. So for this one, because it has equal to, it could be the same number, but if it was just like this, I would be incorrect because 35 is not equal or more than 35. So it would have to be something that looked like this. It could be any number. It could be 100. It could be 36. Anything that would make this sentence true would be what number I would get here. But because this is greater than or equal to, is 35 greater than or equal to 35? Yes. So I am correct. All right, Panagos family, I hope you guys are having a fun time in Hawaii. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year, darlings. Bye.